Go ahead and press record. And if you have any questions, preferably, and I'll let them know when they come in. If you have any questions right now, preferably, if you can just kind of either put it in the chat or wait till the end, because I try to answer all the questions throughout the slides, and then I'll be able to answer them. Normally, like a one-on-one, then it's easier because it's like it's just me and you, so I can answer the question. But in this case, because we're gonna have 2, 3, 4 people on to answer, one question's gonna trigger another question, and then it kind of just goes into like a craziness.
Yeah.
Then we're completely off the subject, so it's just easier just to go through smoothly. Okay, and I'll try to take a look at the chat box as we go.
Okay.
Okay, you guys see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started right now. I know it's just us three, but I'm sure people are gonna jump on because I just got an email. So, all right. So the name of the umbrella company is Wealth Legacy Group. The positions I believe I put up is broker assistant, marketing associate, and real estate agent. So I know for both of you in particular, I think you put in for the marketing associate. But I think both. No, actually, Denise, you're licensed now, huh?
Right.
You're real estate license, so that's a whole nother. So we need to set up another time to go over the comp plan on the real estate. We haven't done that, right?
No.
Okay, so we'll do that. But this is the one that even agents, real estate agents, we do this with clients so that way they can see the big picture, okay? And you'll see why. So again, the name of the umbrella company is Wealth Legacy Group. So let's go ahead and get started. So Wealth Legacy Group, we have different signature proprietary system programs. So one is the new leads program. And with the leads, we provide leads to all of our divisions. So we provide leads to our real estate agents, for our marketing associates, for our mortgage loan originators, for our life license people. Just that alone is way different. There's a lot of companies that don't provide leads at all. I've been to presentations where the only thing is talk to friends and family kind of thing. Have you guys ever seen those? Or talk to people like that?
Yes. or cold calling. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, normally it's like one or the other. Either you talk to friends and family and go that route, or here's a list, go cold call. So we try to have like a warm environment where you have access to different resources, so you can do either or both, and then there's more resources. But regardless, we have a new leads program where we provide leads, rewards point system that we'll go over at the end, and then a stipend compensation plan. So that's kind of how we pay the marketing associates. Okay. A little about me. I'm the founder and CEO of Wealth Legacy Group, and I'm also the managing broker of the real estate division, which is Superior Properties Group. I'm also a licensed mortgage loan originator. I'm a licensed life, accidental, and health. In fact, I need to renew that one in the next few months. And then I'm also a notary license. Okay. The two licenses that I've held the longest is my notary. I've had that one for about, almost 16 years. And the real estate license I've had for 15 years. Okay. And I've met cool people over the years. Tony Robbins. Have you guys ever heard of Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever, Kanan? Heard of Tony
Yeah,
Robbins?
he's a tall-looking guy.
Yeah, tall-looking guy. He's very famous in the motivational, inspirational industry where, he has all kinds of, cool events. He's written some books. So, one is this one, Money Master the Game. But the one that he became famous is like Awaken the Giant years ago that he wrote. And so he's a very cool guy, very tall. When he speaks, he does a lot of spitting. I know because I've been spit on by him. Seriously. I kid you not. It was funny though. Lisa Nichols, she's written different books. She's been on Oprah and Dr. Phil, and she's been on The Secret. So I've met her, spent some intimate time with her, and I have a recording where I think I put that on our video archive. So that's really cool. And then Eric Thomas, same thing. He used to actually be a pastor. So yeah, I meet all these people. One of the main, things I love to do is go to like networking events, and I like to go literally all over the nation. So I've met people all over the place. So one of the main questions I like to ask even clients, I know for you guys, I asked in the interview, hey, the last question, in 5 years, where do you want to be? I actually go a little past that. Hey, what do you want to have? And main question is what you're doing today going to get you there? Okay, that's the big question. Depending on the vehicle that you take, you can still get there, but if you have a faster vehicle, would you agree that you can get there faster? Only makes sense, right? So in real estate, that's the biggest asset that you can, sell. So it's the easiest path there. and you're able to, the thing I love about it, travel, you know, go wherever you want, spend more time. I mean, you can have nice cars, nice houses. For me, it's more of traveling, but everybody does it for different reasons, right? So let's talk about retirement. Okay, this is what we use to basically tie everything together, and you'll understand why. Okay, now Social Security Department and the U.S. Census followed people from age 18 to 65, and then they came out with these stats. These stats in particular, I got in 2005, but I've looked and they haven't changed pretty much at all. These are the stats that are happening. So at age 65, 63% of them were dependent. So they were dependent on maybe the government or their kids or other family members for retirement money. Make sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which that alone, it's kind of sad that many people, you know, need help. Okay. 25% were still working. So they were, you know, working at Starbucks, Walmart, or maybe, you know, at their old job, maybe as a consultant. So they were still working. Now, let me ask you, especially Starbucks, Walmart, those greeters, do you think they want to work there, or do they need that money to, you know, to pay the next paycheck or pay the next bill?
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have to work.
Yeah. 'Cause I know, because that's, you know, when I'm older, unless I really love my job, um, I'd rather be on the beach somewhere, right? Or at
Yeah.
least watching TV or spending time with, you know, grandchildren and things like that. So in my opinion, most of those people don't want to be there. So, I mean, if you just add 63 and 25%, the bulk of people pretty much aren't able to retire, okay? 7% are deceased, so it's kind of hard to help them if they've already passed away. 4% are financially comfortable, so those are people that they were making some good money, setting money aside, and they had enough for retirement. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is the 1% that are wealthy. Those are people where, you know, they didn't run out of money because they were making so much money. Then they have enough money for their kids, for their kids' kids, for their kids' kids, and it's generational wealth. Okay. I really want to talk about what they're doing. Okay. Would you agree if we did the same thing that wealthy did, eventually we'll have those results?
Right.
Okay, so that's why I like to talk about what they do. I really don't want to talk about what the 63% do, but we have to know what not to do. So I do talk about that as well. Right. So basically 95% fail to plan retirement and 5% plan. Okay. And here's one of the main reasons why, okay? Let's just say, for example, somebody did think about retirement and they did it with time, okay? Because a lot of people don't. They think about it when you're 10 years away from retirement, okay? Because in their 20s, pretty much this is what happens. Their 20s, they're kind of partying, maybe getting their degree, right? In their 30s, now they're getting their family together. Maybe they're working on their career. And then in their 40s, maybe they're having, you know, they're taking care of kids, right? So in their 50s, that's when they start really thinking about retirement, because they're 10, 15 years. Okay, let's start seeing how we're going to do it. Now, would you agree now it's going to get a lot harder. You have to put more money aside for retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the sooner that you think about, you know, and another word for retirement is having passive income or freedom, okay? I like to think about it that way. So the faster you think about this, the better, right? So let's just say you did think about it, the regular person, and they set aside $1,000 for a savings or investment account, and they contribute $250 a month. That's a pretty good amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me annotate this. Okay, so 250, and they have 30 years. A lot of people don't even do this. Okay, so 30 years at 5%. So maybe they had a mutual fund or something like that, because I know the bank doesn't give you that, right?
Mm-mm.
The bank
No.
gives the banks give us like 0.001% right now. Right? And I know, Kanan, you're investing a little bit in stocks, so this is pretty,
Right.
you know, doable, right?
Sure.
And so in 30 years, total lifetime savings, that's 212,000, assuming it's compounded every year, simple interest. Okay. Now, do you guys think you can retire on that?
No.
No way.
Okay. This is one of the main reasons why the 63% are in that position. It's not that they didn't completely think about it. It's that they didn't really plan it out as much as they could. They basically figured, you know, they stopped right here. Hey, let's start building a retirement. Let's set aside 250. I'm sure there's going to be enough in the future. And that's it. That's as much as they thought about it. They didn't do the numbers all the way. I'm actually going to show you all of the numbers. Okay. So they also don't think about this, the adjusted cost of living with inflation. So everything is getting more expensive. Would you agree? You know,
Yes.
with inflation. So every year, on average, is 3% rate of inflation. Okay. By the way, this entire presentation, hopefully you're taking notes and mental notes, but regular notes, even though I'll have the recording and send it to you. But also all these stats and numbers and things like that, double check my work, okay? Don't just believe me. In fact, that's just in general. Anybody that you talk to, just don't believe on face value.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Anybody that I talk to, I kind of just double check just to make sure. If I start hearing from 2 or 3 people the same information, okay, where are they getting their information from? I like to hear facts in particular. I'm a numbers facts person. Okay.
Yeah.
So adjusted cost living with inflation. So let's just say, for example, your current expenses are $5,000 a month right now with rate of inflation on average 3%. Okay. So that's one of the things, check on it. Okay. So in 30 years, literally the same lifestyle you have right now is going to cost $12,000, not changing anything else. Okay. And would you agree that you're going to have other expenses that you're not going to have now? Maybe medical expenses, health, all that stuff, because you're older, it gets more expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not even including that, just the same lifestyle. So that money, now it's going to cost $145,000 to live on the same lifestyle. Okay, so literally just add it up. You've saved up 212,000 over the 30 years, but now your adjusted cost of living is 145,000. So your money in this case is not even going to last 2 years. Now you really see why people are in that position.
Right.
Okay? It's not that they put it themselves in the position. It's just that they didn't do all the math and they don't understand investments, and they don't understand that money is not money anymore. Money used to be backed by gold and silver, and it made a lot of sense to put in the bank and a lot of sense to keep it at home because it's going to be more valuable later, right? Because there's only so much gold, right? But now, once we got off of the gold standard where the government can print as much as they want, that's why inflation keeps hitting us like crazy. So we have to think about money, differently. In fact, money is called currency now for a reason, but nobody really calls it currency just because they're used to it. So going back to this, so cost of living goes up over time, as you can tell. Hopefully while you're working, you're making more and more money once you're getting better at your career. But at retirement, it's going to drop down, and what you're going to have is whatever your state, retirement is. Maybe a pension, maybe Social Security, maybe if you have like a 401k or something in particular. But there's still an income gap. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
There's still some type of gap. There's somebody that I had talked to and I showed this presentation to, and that this is the highest I've ever heard. He's going to get a 90% pension. So whatever he's making is just going to have 90% for the rest of his life. Now that's good, but nobody else, has that, right?
Yeah.
I think Denise is into this. I don't know. Kanan's kind of held back. Just kidding.
Yeah, I'm curious, does it say the average American, could you go back? Yeah, does that mean the average American needs $2,500 per month to gap for their retirement?
Yeah, they say that that's basically if all those Americans like in the 63% are still working, if they were making this, then they could retire. All right?
Per month?
That's why they have that extra job where they're asking money from their family because they're getting this. Okay, so if we were to fill that income gap for them, which is what I'm going to show you, then they can retire. Okay. Good eye, good eye. So I can tell Kanan is paying attention. All right. So again, purchasing power of the dollars going down, and that's what's really contributing to inflation. But every time, because the government, we gave them the authority in 1934, 35. Anytime there's a war, anytime that, the government needs to print money, what happens to our dollar in our pockets? Okay, it becomes devalued.
Yeah.
Devalued. So that's really where inflation is really hitting us, because all this printing of money. And just right now, Trump printed tons of money with all the stimulus checks and all that. Who do you think is paying for that? Us in the future, or our grandkids. And that's what keeps happening. I mean, we're literally trillions of dollars in debt, which is crazy to even think about. On top of that, taxes. Okay. The easiest way for the government to get paid and pay some of these things back and all that is taxes. Would you agree? Just raising the taxes, boom, that's an influx of money coming in.
Right.
So years ago, around the same time, actually in the 1930s, before that, we used to get paid, and we used to have a pension, right? You worked for a company, you worked 15, 20, 30 years, and then that corporation would take care of us for the rest of our life. It's called a pension. You guys have heard about that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so slowly, when the 401k and some of the different things that we'll talk about, but mainly the 401k for private companies came about, it made a lot of sense for the corporation. You mean I don't have to pay for the rest of their life? The retirement, they have to take care of their own retirement, so we'll have this much savings. Sounds good. The government, you know, great. They're going to get paid a big influx of money, and I'll show you how. And then the people, this is what they said, okay? So it would have made sense for me too. Look, the taxes are high. We're in a war. So how about we do this? We take the money out pre-tax. It goes into this what's called 401k. You can control how much money you're making. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna put a mute on you, Kanan, because I don't know what that noise is. Did you hear that, Denise, too?
Yeah, I didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah, it was from Kanan because I saw the yellow box. It's coming from him. It sounded like a weird, car. But anyway, the government said, you know, and the corporations told the people this, okay? Taxes are high right now. We're in a war. What if we did this, okay? Pre-tax, the money comes out of the paycheck. The company will match the payments. It goes into, you know, this investment vehicle, this retirement vehicle called the 401k, which is a ripoff, but that's another story. 401k, and you get to control it. You know, you can control some of the, you know, the stocks. You can make a little bit more money, and you control your retirement. And then later, when you pay the taxes, taxes should be lower in the future. Now, saying it that way, doesn't it make sense?
Yeah.
Except for the ripoff part. Okay, so let me show you why it's a huge ripoff. Okay, with this to simplify it, because I like to simplify things, and then I'll show you like the numbers breakdown. Okay, but think about this. Okay, if you were a farmer, Denise, what makes more sense, to pay the taxes on the seed or the harvest of the farm? So on this, and taxes are about 35%, by the way. 25% to the government and 9% to the state.
So which one makes more sense to pay taxes on?
What would you, if you're the farmer, what would you rather do? Pay taxes? Because you have to pay taxes regardless. You have to pay the government because we live, you know, here in the United States. Would you rather pay 35% on the seeds or on the harvest?
Well, if you're a good farmer, then the harvest would benefit you more. So it would probably be better for the seed because then it wouldn't be as much that you have to pay taxes on.
Exactly, right? Once you plant the seeds and it starts growing and compounding, then the government's going to get 35% of your entire harvest. So how is the 401k and some of these retirement plans set up? It comes out pre-tax, right? So they don't pay on the seeds. And then later when they retire on the entire harvest, they have to pay to the government 35%. That's the 401k. And most people don't think about it that way. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're paying literally 100 times more than they should to the government.
Well, I need to talk to you about my 401k then. I've only started it a couple of years ago.
All right. Sounds good. So let me give you the numbers breakdown, okay?
Okay.
Actually, let me share this first. So when we sit down with clients, what we do is we share some of this education that shocks people, right? People are like, holy crap, I'm paying lots of money. And once we start showing these comparisons and what else you could do with the money, then people start doing that, right? So one other thing, one misconception, okay? Oh, by the way, one last thing on the 401k. Can you lose money in your 401k? Of course.
Absolutely.
You know, it can drop down.
A ton of money.
Yeah, people, I could show you videos of people losing their money. So in my opinion, that's like the riskiest thing where your money can be, especially your retirement money that you're going to live off on when you're not working anymore. So I hate the 401k for that reason. Another thing is, okay, most people think of their property as an asset. Okay, they just kind of, you know, figure, hey, I can sell this, I can refinance, in the future it goes to my kids. So they think about it as an asset. But the best definition that the rich people, because we're talking about the 1% rich, how they see it, okay, is, and this comes from Robert Kiyosaki. He's a multi-billionaire. This is the way his definition is: anything that you have, whether you work or not, if it's putting money into your pocket every single month, it's an asset. Okay, if you're working or not, okay, and if it's taking money out of your pocket every single month, it's a liability. Isn't that an easy definition?
Yeah.
Now with that definition, let's put it into property, okay? If you live in your house and you're paying a mortgage payment, you have to work for that. You have a negative cash flow. So now with that definition, do you see how your property can be a liability?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the same, you know, that the same property can become an asset or liability at, you know, at the same time. Even your car, okay? Your car, you're paying every single month. That's a negative cash flow. But all of a sudden, you start making money with it, Uber, Lyft, or you rent it out, then it can become an asset. So rich people, that's what they do. They see really their balance sheet and what's making them money and what's not making them money, okay? So that's the real definition, the real what wealthy people, how they see it, okay?
Okay.
That completely shifts your mind, right, on how to think about some of these things. So their property, we have to tell them, look, it's a liability. If you stop paying, Mr. Client, if you stop paying on your house, is somebody going to take it away? Yes, right? The mortgage company. Even if it's paid off, Mr. Client, and you're not paying the property taxes, who's going to take it away? The government. And so you just have to really understand that liability and assets, okay? Their mortgage is negative. No, most people don't have life insurance. Their debt is passed on to their heirs, and it goes through probate court, and then basically the judge makes all the main decisions. Okay, and you got to pay taxes and the probate court and all the fees to the judge and all that stuff. Okay, and so what we do is sit down with clients, create a plan, and really teach them tax-free retirement strategies, which I'm going to show you one of them. Tax-free retirement strategies, real estate strategies, business strategies, asset protection strategies. Because what's the use of me helping you guys build $1 million and then you get sued and take it all away, right? So we have to protect it at the same time. And then no market exposure strategies where you're not in the market at all. It doesn't matter what's going on in real estate, doesn't matter what's going on in stocks because it goes up and down, right? Where your money's completely safe. Okay, is that pretty good?
Yeah.
Now, based off of what I just showed you right now, what realtors are showing this? Nobody. Right?
No.
Realtors don't do this. They list property or they help a buyer get a house, and that's it. We go above and beyond. We can do that as well. But that to me is the easy part, opening up a house, right? And signing an agreement, that's the easy part. But really showing them the tax consequences of that house, the tax consequences of some of the things that they're doing, isn't that way above and beyond what they're doing? That's why we get, 9 out of 10 times we get all the listings and buyers because we're not even competing with the other agents because we're educating more, okay? We're literally worth more because of that. So let's go over the very first tax-free retirement strategy, which most people, when they see tax-free, it's like, come on, is it really tax-free? And yes, you're going to see why. And the first one is utilizing insurance policies, okay? And then you can turn it around and invest in real estate. I'm going to show you how. Now, back to the example with the taxes and the IRS, okay? Let me switch this to green to make it easier. So this is the harvest, okay? You've worked hard, or a client has worked hard, and this is what they saved up in their retirement, $450,000. Okay, this is their harvest. Maybe they had it on 401k, which is for private companies. All these other tax codes are just, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's for different areas. So 403b is teachers or nonprofits. TSA is government, and then IRAs are for like self-employed people like myself, and maybe some of you guys. Okay, make sense so far?
Yeah.
But it pretty much works the same way, pre-tax, and then they're going to pay tax on this, okay? So after tax, we still got to pay Uncle Sam, okay, your favorite uncle. And in this case, we keep 65% because we got to pay the government. So if we keep 65% of the 450, it's 300,000. Are you guys following so far?
Yeah.
So some of the clients that I talk to where they're excited about, look, I'm getting close to retirement, I have this money. They show me like their statement, and then they show me this number, and I'm like, well, this isn't your money. You haven't paid the IRS yet. Okay, so you really don't have, in this case, 450,000. You really have 300,000. Make sense? So the main three things that people do with their money is these. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. So the first one, if I had to put a number percentage on it, I would have to say 90 to 95% of people do this one. They spend it. That's pretty much what they do. This is another reason why they're in that predicament, the 63% and the 25%, because eventually you're going to run out of money. I mean, doesn't that only make sense?
Right.
So, for example, if you're spending $30,000 a year, which is low, you can't do that in California, but 30,000 and you have 300,000 to work with, your money's only going to last not even 10 years because things are getting more expensive. And so they run out of money. Okay. The second thing that people do is an annuity. Now, do you guys know what an annuity is?
I've heard of the term, but no, not really.
Okay. So an annuity, think about it like a bucket, okay? You can take this whole 300 grand, actually from the 450, if you really want to roll it over. But the 300,000, you could put it into this bucket, and it's tied to an indexing strategy with the S&P 500. So the top 500 companies, and it's going to give about 4 to maybe 8, 9%. So let's just say 9%, okay? Which is pretty good, and you can't lose the money, and I'm going to show you that. And insurance companies, life insurance companies, are the only ones that provide this, okay? Not regular banks. There's a distribution when you're in retirement that you can pull money out, and so that's 4%. That's what that number is here. So this is pretty cool, okay? I'll tell you the pros and the cons. The good thing is that technically, if it's making 4% and you're pulling out 4%, then theoretically your money will last forever because you're never touching this principal. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
In retirement, you're literally living off of interest, which is good. That's what multimillionaires, billionaires do. They just live off of interest and they have all the rest of the money making money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good thing. Here's the bad thing. The most that you can pull out once it's in an annuity is 4% right now. So in this case, that's 12,000 a year from the 300 grand, 1,000 a month. Okay. So if you need 2,500 that we talked about to fill the gap, do you think we still need money?
Yes.
So that's the people that go back to work. All right. That's the problem. Now here, I mean, I'm going to go over a lot of awesome real estate stuff, but in this case, here's why it does not make sense. Okay. You're in retirement, you're 65, you don't buy any rental houses back then. All of a sudden you're retired. I need to make money. So if you put this whole $300,000 and buy a rental house cash, you're not doing the main thing that real estate is really intended for, is for leveraging. You get to leverage the bank's money. In this case, you're not doing that. That's the first thing that doesn't make sense. But also, let's just say in this case, you get 300 grand, an older 65-year-old puts it into a rental house, and let's say they can rent it out for $1,500 a month, okay, in that area. So far, it sounds pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not, even if you have no mortgage on it, did you know that now this is a brand new ordinary income, so now it has to be taxed even in retirement? Okay, so you really don't have $1,500 because you got to pay income tax on this. So we got to drop it down to, like, let's say $1,200. Okay, on top of that, there's another tax called property tax, right? That's gonna have to pay the fire department and the school and all that stuff. So now you don't have 1,200, you're back down to 1,000. Now you're basically at the same position as the annuity.
Right.
Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
That's why if you wait till the rest of your life, don't buy real estate, and then you buy it at the very end, it doesn't make sense. Okay. Somebody's jumping on late. We'll see who it is. Okay. Are you guys learning a lot so far?
I am.
This is why clients go with us, because we literally educate them in the main presentation. We go over a lot of stuff that nobody goes over, and most people don't have financial planners, so we're kind of combining that. Hey, who is that? It says iPhone. Oscar. Okay, let me put your name on here so I don't forget. Oscar Roman, right?
Correct. Yes, Oscar.
There we go.
Is my video?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Just real quick, you're a little late, so there's obviously the beginning that you missed, but we're recording it, so I'll send you the recording later, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute you, and if you have any questions, try to leave them towards the end, okay? All right, so rental house, 1,500. Now you see we're basically in the same position. Now let's go over what the 1% do, okay? Not a lot of people know about this one, believe it or not. Where is my analytics? Oh, here it is. But this is what the 1% do, okay? It's this one. It says Uncle Ronnie because instead of paying Uncle Sam, you can actually talk to Uncle Ronnie and do it with him. So Uncle Ronnie, this is tax-free. This is what the 1% do, okay? The 1% wealthy. And the tax code that's utilized is the 7702, okay? Just like these tax codes. And so if you get this $300,000 and you put it directly and structure it correctly with a life insurance policy, you're able to distribute 10% to yourself for the rest of your life and never utilize principal, and you're at $2,500 a month. Does that solve our problem?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and then you'll see how we can tie it into real estate, okay? Now, real quick, 101 on life insurance, okay? Years ago, people basically got life insurance for their family only. So if you die too soon, that way it goes to them. Make sense?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny. I'll give you a funny joke. In the Hispanic community, the men, if a life insurance agent would talk to the men, the Hispanic life insurance or that person would say, "Why would I get life insurance for my wife is just going to get remarried? So the one that's really going to spend the money is him, Sancho." And so it's kind of a funny joke in the Hispanic community where it's like that's the main reason why the guy wouldn't do it. Kind of
Oh.
funny. Yeah, see, Denise is laughing. Oscar, have you heard of that? If you want to unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, that's a bit aggressive, but I can see like a balance, right? Like I can see where they're coming from, but that's it's perspective.
I mean, it kind of made sense. He's just gonna get remarried, but I mean, you could think about it the other way. Hey, maybe she won't get remarried because she doesn't need somebody with money because you gave that to her. So, but that's pretty much in the Hispanic community. Just a little joke. We got to loosen up, right? In this presentation, have a few jokes. Can't just be numbers. Okay, so years ago, now real estate changed, or life insurance changed, and it gives people way more, and you have access to the money even before you pass away. So if you become too ill and you get a doctor's note, you can actually access that money. Okay, and I'll go over those numbers, but that's pretty cool. It's almost like long-term care, but in a big paycheck, or checks every month, which is huge, right? It's almost like having a different type of health insurance, but just huge checks to pay for all your bills. So that's really good. And then if neither of these two happen, where that person doesn't die too soon and you don't become too ill and use all that money, you can switch it over. And if you live too long, you can turn it into retirement income. Is that pretty good?
Yeah, great.
So quick life insurance 101, there's only two types of life insurance, okay? And then there's different riders. So then all these life insurance companies or agents, when they talk to people, they kind of push it like they have the best thing, but really there's only two types, okay? There's only term and permanent, okay? Term life insurance is the cheapest. So it's literally only for a term, so 10, 15, 30 years, and it's very cheap. I have one for $20 for $250,000. So term, it's very cheap. I got my brother one. I think he's paying like $100 and something a year for $500,000. So this is the cheapest for the money. But the problem is it's kind of like renting. If you rent a house, I mean, once you leave, that's it. You were paying for the time you were there. And if you were in this case, if you were to pass away, then that money gets paid out to your family. That's pretty much it. But permanent life insurance is like buying a house, okay? When you buy a house, this one's for the rest of your life. You can give it on to your heirs, and it accumulates cash value, kind of like appreciation and equity. So I'm going to show you how to use this to retire, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what they use in the annuity and this type of policy, it's called an IUL. It's the indexing strategy, okay? And I wanna just talk to you a few minutes on this because this is very powerful and people aren't taught this at all. Okay, so the red line. Do you see the red line? Here, I'll do red. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the S&P 500 or the stock market, but this one it just follows the top 500 companies. Okay, so this one it goes up and down. In fact, in the year 2000, that's when it started going down, and then you can see 2002 is the bottom, but if you look at this money, okay, just imagine if you had a 401k or you were directly in the stock market. If you had this money, literally from 2000 to 2007, it took about 7 years just to get back to the same position you were already at. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's the problem with where you put all your eggs in one basket, especially retirement income. It's the craziest thing you can do, okay? But most people don't know, right? So our job is to get out there and talk to people, right? So here's us, okay? This is the green line. This is the indexing strategy, okay? So when the market goes up, we go up. But as you can notice, we're not going up as high as it because the life insurance companies are putting a cap on it. So they put a cap, normally 11, 12%. And then, but we have a bottom, a floor, which is normally about 0%, okay? So when the market goes up, we go up. When the market went down, can you see the market went down? We flatline. Okay, so we don't lose any of our money. Isn't that a better way to put, if we're going to put retirement money somewhere, might as well have it safe, right?
Right.
If the market went up, we went up. When the market went down, we flatline. so we don't lose money. When the market went up, we went up. When it went down, we flatlined. So can you see there comes a point where you're always going to be way ahead of the people that have 401ks and they're directly into the stock market for that reason. Make sense?
Yes.
Now, I'm the kind of, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the kind of person that asks questions, a lot of questions where I want to ask enough questions where I completely understand how this is, especially if I'm going to talk to other people, right?
Yeah.
So, and I really like to simplify things because people are at different, mindsets, right? And so my question was, how is ours more powerful than the 401k? I mean, how are we not directly in the stock market? That doesn't make sense. So after all these questions and talking to people, here's the way to explain it, okay? This happens, believe it or not, this is a real estate strategy on the investment side that we utilize, okay? Now, life insurance companies are doing this in the billions, but this is how it works, okay? In real estate, let's just say, for example, Denise, you're a seller, okay? And I'm a buyer, and you have your house for $100,000, okay? Are you guys following so far? Let me write it down so you guys are following. $100,000 property, right?
Okay.
So you have it for sale, okay? Let's just say that I don't qualify for that house, okay? For whatever reason, I have bad credit right now or whatever, I have to fix it. So what I can do is, look, Denise, I really want to buy this house. Can we do a lease with an option to buy or a rent to own, to where I'll rent your house, and then as soon as I can, do that, then I'll buy the house, okay? And I'd like the price right now. So how about this, Denise? I'll give you $1,000 of what's called the lease option money, non-refundable. Okay, so that's an extra paycheck in there. Okay, so does it make sense for Denise? Of course. Okay, now if she doesn't have to go list it, sell it, like she has a buyer in place. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say we do a 3-year contract. Okay, which means in 3 years, I have the contract for 100,000. I gave her $1,000 non-refundable payment, and in 3 years, I should have my credit, everything ready, right? So in 3 years, this is pretty much likely what's going to happen. In 3 years, let's just say it's worth $130,000. Okay, what does that mean? I exercise my right in 3 years. I buy it from her for $100,000 because isn't that what we agreed, Denise?
Right.
So this $30,000, whose is it?
It's yours.
Okay, because we have that contract.
Right.
Even though this entire 3 years, who's on title? Denise, right? So she didn't have anything to lose. She always had it under her belt, right? So isn't this a good deal for everybody? All right, now let's look at it the other way around, okay? Let's just say that the same thing's happening, but in 3 years the market went down. Can't that happen just like this?
Yes.
Okay, or this. So if it went down, and let's just say it's worth let me do that. Let's say it's worth $70,000. So it went down 30,000, the opposite. Okay. So in 3 years, does it make sense for me to buy it from Denise?
No.
Okay. I mean, unless I really love the property, that's a different situation, and I'm willing to do that. That's fine. By the way, some people do that. Okay. So it does exist. But if I'm a regular, like a investor, I really see numbers. Okay, I'd rather just buy one across the street, right? And I could buy one at 70,000, right? That's what I could do. So basically, this $1,000, I just say, you know what? Keep the $1,000. I'd rather not buy the property. I'm going to buy the one, across the street. Okay. So now does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So let me translate this into life insurance policies. They're doing this in the billions. So this is what's happening when the market goes up. All the interest that you're getting on your principal, they set this aside and do stock options. So they option, and if it goes up, they exercise the right and buy it. And so that money that was made, a percentage goes into our accounts, and then the insurance company keeps the rest, right? When the stock market goes down, all they do is they use the interest that was made, and they just don't exercise the right to buy it, and so you don't lose. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Now it makes complete sense why we're always above and beyond, because we're never using our principal. Isn't that huge?
Right.
By the way, even in real estate, can all three of you guys, can we do that in real estate too? Of course. Right? So we teach that on the investment side, okay? But pretty cool stuff, huh?
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
So I like to have third party, and I think I talked to you, Kanan, or actually you brought it up. it's always good to have a third party talk about this, okay? So this is a third party company that looked into these type of policies, and they did research on it. And this came from Palm Beach Research Group. So you can look it up, do your own research, or I can send you this article. This came out, this one did research on the 702J retirement plan, which is basically what I showed you on insurance, except this is the corporate version, okay? So the reason this, or not the reason, the person that brought this in to law is this president, Ronald Reagan, okay? He was actually the oldest president we've had, and so he understood the American seniors and what they needed to retire, because he's in that age, right? So he had a lot of friends. So what he did, he created these two things, brought these into law. One of them is called, and it's not on here, but it's called the reverse mortgage. Have you guys ever heard of a reverse mortgage?
Yes.
Okay, well, tell us, Denise, what is it?
You have to be at a certain age, and you stop paying your mortgage. You have the option to stop paying your mortgage once you're in that loan program. And then when you die, I'm really not sure, if the house goes to the government, which that's what I originally thought. But then I've heard commercials with Tom Selleck that says that your kids can keep the house. So I don't know if it just like they're on title and then they have to keep paying the balance that's due on it. And if they don't, then it goes to the government. I'm not real clear on that.
Okay, well, maybe I can clear this up. This is actually a little quick training in real estate anyway, okay? A reverse mortgage is basically the reverse of a regular mortgage, so that only makes sense, the opposite. So what's a regular mortgage? A regular mortgage, there's still a little bit of equity, so this part, obviously you don't have the money, so then you borrow from a mortgage company, right? So then you're paying these payments in order to keep the house because you got lent by the company. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of our life, at age 62 or 62 and a half is basically where somebody needs to be at to qualify for reverse mortgages. But this should be the opposite, okay? Maybe they have a little bit of a mortgage left, but pretty much at the end of your life, hopefully they have a lot of equity. Make sense? Or a paid off house. So most people, if they didn't structure any type of other retirement and they need money, this is a good thing they could do. So what happens is, instead of a mortgage where you're paying on it to have more equity and to completely pay it off, this one's the reverse. So you're talking to a lender, hey, I have this much equity. Instead of pulling everything else all at once like a refinance, and even if I want to do that, I'm old, I don't have a job anymore, so I couldn't even qualify for that even if I wanted to. Hey, I have all this equity. How about you give me chunks every single month? So instead of you paying every month, you're giving me $2,000 a month, 2 or 3,000 or whatever I need. And so now slowly my equity it goes the opposite. You start getting less and less equity because the loan is going up and up. Make sense? Okay. But these, I want you to understand, because this is a good question that people get confused because they tie the mortgage and the house together combined, and that's not true. These two are two different things. You have the house and you have the mortgage. Okay. Although, I mean, obviously if you don't pay on this, then they can take this one away, but they're still separate. Okay. So what happens is the house, if I'm going to give it to Kanan, he's my beneficiary. Okay. Whenever I die, it just depends on where this is at. I might have gotten more money from the reverse, so maybe it's a half, 50%. Okay, but still, the house doesn't belong to the lending company. It belongs to whoever I'm giving it on my will. So okay. So then, like, let's just say Kanan is my son. I don't know how that's possible, but Kanan is my son, or whoever my beneficiary is going to be. So this is going to go to the new person. But the reverse mortgage company is going to be like, okay, pay us off or whatever. And so this person needs to refinance if they're going to buy it or sell the property. That way that mortgage gets paid. But either way, the title doesn't belong to the lender. It belongs to whoever it's going to. If this one's a husband and a wife, right? Same thing. It goes to the wife that's on title,
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that. I just thought it was outright the government's.
oh, no. Some people get confused, so then they say reverse mortgages are ripoffs, but that's not true. They're just not educated on it.
Yeah.
Because if they don't structure it correctly, and then beneficiaries don't know, then of course the reverse mortgage, the company's gonna foreclose on it and take it over. So then it makes them look bad, obviously, but they do that just like a regular mortgage, you know?
Right.
All right. So this is the president that brought that out. So a lot of people know about that, especially loan officers. So they kind of put it out there, but nobody knows about this. This is basically a reverse insurance policy. Okay, that's why I wanted to go over that. Reverse real estate, reverse life insurance, so that way you can get paid in retirement. Okay, and I need to share this with you. It is 100% legal. Okay, because we're going to talk about no taxes. So I have to say this: it's tax exempt. Okay, where you don't pay taxes, and it's 100% legal. Okay. In fact, that's the president that brought it out. This is some of the 1%ers that utilize these policies. You probably heard of them. Have you guys ever heard of Warren Buffett or Bill Gates?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But there's other people. So let me pull. There is 54 elected officials, Vice President Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. And remember, this coming from a third party. Executives Johnson & Johnson put $23 million into these accounts. Why? Because they understand the power behind them, okay? Us, normal, regular people, we're not going to put 23 million into these accounts because we don't have 23 million. But when you're rich, just follow the money, right?
Yeah.
So this is the 1%. Reagan's secret 702J retirement plan is what they said because it's restricted. In fact, this one kind of explains it, okay? No one is telling, by the way, this came from Jason Rink, former VP at Chase, okay? No one is telling Americans about this retirement plan, not banks, not Wall Street, not the government. In fact, the government restricts the advertising of these retirement plans to the public. Is that kind of eye-opening?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's awesome, but not awesome at the same time, because that's why people can be utilizing this. Huh?
Meaning it's like powerful information that you're giving us.
Yeah,
So
it's very powerful. The only way people know is just, the parents taught, showing their kids and putting them in it, or financial planners that know about it. But there's only so much we can, so many people we can go to and talk to about that at a time, right? Because we're not legally, the life insurance companies can't advertise, and even the agents can't advertise to the public. Okay. Why? Because we're talking about a tax-free strategy, and how does the government get paid? On taxes. So
Yeah.
it'll be kind of counterproductive if the government let life insurance companies talk about it, because it would take all the money away that they need. So that's why pretty much 1 to 5% of people have these type of policies and know how to use money to retire through the government and some of these policies. And the rest of everybody, they have to go get a job, and they have to, now you kind of see why things are happening. It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's literally education. Now with this education and starting to put a little bit of action, you guys are going to retire literally millionaires. Okay. And I'll show you how.
Wow.
All right. So Tony Robbins, Money Master of the Game, he wrote this book, and on page 443, so if you want to write this down, 443, he calls it a rich man's Roth. Okay. Where there's unlimited deposit amounts with no income limitation there, because there's a bunch of different types of retirement accounts where they put a cap on it. So this one doesn't. There's no tax on the growth of the investments. So no tax when accessed if structured correctly. So just like a savings account, can you pull money anytime? Of course. Okay. So this one's actually structured that way. With the 401k, can you do that? No, there's penalties. Okay. So that's already huge, right?
Yeah.
And any money left over to your heirs cannot be taxed because it's inside of a life insurance policy. Is that pretty cool?
That's that's fantastic.
So no tax, yeah, no tax, no tax, no tax. And then this one, because you can access it anytime, I'm going to show you how you can use that and leverage it to buy real estate. All right, which is huge. Okay. I'll just skip that part. That just kind of summarizes it. So this is the last part of it, okay? Because I really want to show you guys apples to apples, okay? And why it's 100 times better than a 401k. This one I did based on my brother, okay? So let me just grab this blue. Yeah. Okay, so this is a contribution. You can do this yourself, by the way, on mycalculator.com. This is a 401k contribution schedule. So assuming he has 38 years, so he's 27 when I did this. So 27 plus 38 is about 65 when he's going to retire. His annual income is $100,000, which is actually true. Okay. So $100,000, if he contributes 9% of his salary into this, which is $9,000 a year, That's where that, that's what he's putting into it. And assuming annual interest rate of 6.9% compounded annually. Everybody with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Kanan, are you good?
Yeah, I'm keeping right up. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's see what happens. Okay, 9,000 a year. Let's see what happens. 31 years later, he has 929,000. 38 years later, he has 1.5 million bucks in a 401k. Is that pretty good?
Yeah, that's good.
That's pretty good. I mean, technically in retirement, you're a millionaire, right? With these numbers, contributing for 9,000 a year. But here's the thing, okay? We still haven't paid the government yet, remember? So you really don't have 1.5. You have 65% of it. So you actually have, in this case, 1,016,000, okay? And if you want it to last, because if you use this, you'll eventually run out. So if you put it into an annuity, 4% fixed, so that's 40,000 a year, 3,300 bucks a month. Okay, but here's the thing: he's been used to making 8,000 bucks a month, and all of a sudden he goes down to 3,000. That's a $5,000 difference. You know, again, people get into this position because they're busy with life, busy with their kids, and so at the end of their life, now it's too late to do anything else. They're already in this position. Make sense?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is really plan it out and go through the whole scenario with them, okay? Now let me show you a better way, okay? With this policy I was talking about, these are the numbers, okay? Again, this one, it's a 3-in-1, so he's 27, non-tobacco, so he doesn't smoke, because this one's based on somebody's health. We give him a $900,000 policy, and this one's assuming 600 bucks a month, and I'll show you how that's the same as the other one, the contribution 401k. But while he's alive, he has living benefits. So if something were to happen, this doesn't matter at all. The 600 bucks, they're gonna pull from the 900,000. So if this happens a year or two later, you're actually pulling from the 900,000. That's pretty powerful. So if he becomes critically ill, chronic, terminal, he gets 25 to 75% of the 900 grand. So he gets a huge check in this case, 225,000 to 675 grand. Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
That's while he's alive. I'd rather get money while alive. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to wait, and somebody else get it. So that's good. And obviously, if he passes away, his family gets 900 grand. But if neither of those two happen, oh, by the way, these are the living benefits triggers. There's about 18 triggers, okay? So if something happens where you need help dressing, eating, bathing, toileting, and you get a doctor's note, then you have access to that 900 grand. Make sense?
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. But we're talking about retirement, so let's talk about retirement, okay? Now, remember on the other one where we talked about 9,000 that he was contributing?
Yes.
Yes.
This one, it's assuming he's contributing 7,200, which is the 600 a month. It's all the same thing. But the reason why we're talking apples to apples and we're not putting 9,000 here is because the 9,000, he hasn't paid taxes on it yet. Remember, it was going in tax deferred. So if he had the 9,000 and then you pay taxes on it, then it's 7,200 bucks that he's left with. Then he puts it in here. Okay.
Okay.
We want to make sure we're good with the government. Okay. we don't want them going after us later. All right. So 7,200 bucks a year. The death. This is the most important. Is highlighted. So 900,000 doesn't change. And then the net account value is basically another name for his cash value or what's in your account. This is obviously going to compound, okay? But here's the powerful thing, okay? In any time you can access this money. I have one I've had for 3 years. I borrowed 3,500 bucks from it, okay? This one's making 6.9%. So you kind of have to really, if you're in that situation where you have a car payment and you're paying 12%, and this one's making 6.9%, doesn't it make more sense to borrow, get this money and then pay it off? That way you're saving 6%.
Right.
For this one, you have to have common sense a little bit. But what's cool is, like, let's say you have 27,000, you can actually borrow this, and it's sourced by mortgage company. If they look at it, they know exactly where it's coming from, and then you can put it down on a house, okay, if you wanted to. And here's the other powerful thing, okay? Just like a house, okay. Let's just say again, it's worth 100,000. If I were to get a loan for 70,000, that's the loan. Does it affect the value of the house?
No.
The answer is no, right? It doesn't affect whether I have a loan of, if it's paid off, or I have a loan of 70,000. It doesn't affect this 100,000, right?
Right.
That's how much people are willing to pay for it. So it works, believe it or not, it works the same way in this, which it shocked me the first time I heard of it. Because this, let's just say 27,000, there's two ways of doing it where you pull this money. You can either do what's called a withdrawal, where you actually pull the money, or you can actually borrow against it just like a house. So if you borrow 27,000, now you have two hands, okay? On one hand, you have $27,000 in your account, but then you borrow from it, that's another hand. Okay, so it doesn't affect the 27. So you get this, you paid off your house or have a down payment, or you paid off your car or whatever, but you're still making interest of 6.9% on the 27,000 bucks, even though you borrow from it. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah.
Now, do you guys know why rich people do this?
Absolutely.
This is what the rich people are doing. They get $1 million, they put it into these accounts, then they borrow against it. So now they're making money on the million while they still have the million.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the same?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Are you guys learning a lot? I mean, you guys haven't even really joined yet. But look, you can do this in the house. This is how millionaires doing it. Okay. They buy same thing, $1 million worth of real estate. Can they borrow against it? Of course. So then they pull out $1 million, and their million, it keeps making money. Because then now they have $1 million worth of real estate asset.
Right.
Okay. And they have their money in their pocket. That's crazy. Telling you, I wish more people knew about some of these things. So that's our job, to get it out there. So let's see what happens in retirement. Okay, let's continue. Let me switch this to green. Okay. So in this case, my brother, for 38 years, he put into this account. At 65, he's not going to pay anymore after this. Okay. So he's paid in altogether $273,000. That's the most in 38 years. And what happens is, in his account, there's $1 million. Okay. 1,556,000. Isn't that more than the 16,000 that we talked about in the 401k? So just so you know, this one actually outperformed it, even at the same percentage, which is amazing. Also, the death benefit actually went up. Okay, so he's at 1.2 million. So if he were to pass away, they get paid. He's been able to borrow at the same time, anytime. But I told the computer, hey, insurance company, he's used to making $100,000 a year. That's this over here. So let's pay him like a pension, $100,000 a year for the rest of his life, and let's see how long it lasts. Okay.
Okay.
And hint, I want it to last forever. Okay. So this is what happens. Okay. Every single year he's getting paid $100,000 a year. So in his 60s, 70s, 100,000. 70s, 80s, 100,000. Most guys live to about, late 80s, middle, late 80s. So in this case, if he lived to the average span of life that men have, just in this, he would have pulled out $2.2 million. Do you guys see that number right there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Just with all the money he's pulled out. He's only put in not even 300 grand. He's pulled out 2.2, and he still has money in his account. 80s, 90s, if he lives out, longer, boom, $3.2 million. 90s, 100s, he's pulled out $4.2 million. And let's go to the end, okay? Again, most people don't live to 121. I don't know if anybody has, but if he does, he's pulled out $5.6 million. On top of that, because of the power of compound interest, Albert Einstein calls it the seventh biggest wonder of the world. His account has $3.2 million. Okay, he's a multi-millionaire, and on top of that, he has 3.4 in his death benefit. Is that pretty huge?
That's awesome.
That is.
Yeah. So this alone, it makes a huge difference. He's not in that 95%. He's automatically just having this policy in the 5%. Pretty huge. Okay. All right. Now I already talked about real estate throughout, but now are you ready to really talk about real estate?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you guys liking this?
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
That's why I like to show like marketing associates, agents, the client presentation, because when I'm sitting down with a client, I go over the overview. I don't go deep like I'm doing with you guys on the money and become multimillionaires. I don't want to shock them, But for you guys, I really wanted you to see the big picture, because you can do this on a small scale with somebody and just help them retire, or you can literally help people become multimillionaires.
Right.
I mean, is that pretty huge? On top of that, we get paid very handsomely. Okay. All right, let's talk about real estate. Now, real estate is literally the complete opposite of what's going on with the money. So money is literally becoming devalued. Inflation is hitting it. So housing in the last 100 years, it's always gone up. Why? Because supply and demand. God only made so much land. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And yeah, people keep having babies, having bigger and bigger families, and then eventually they get old enough and they have to move somewhere. So that's why that keeps happening. So real estate, would you agree, in 30 years is going to be more expensive? Of course.
Absolutely.
So we're in a great position with what we have, because there's only 3 things that people really need: food, water, and shelter, right?
Right.
And so which one do we have? Shelter. We provide to people. Well, this is the asset protection part. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. So we teach that too. But wealth strategies, this is the amazing thing about real estate. You can't get bored, okay? Because you can just switch niches. I mean, there's literally flipping. Have you guys ever seen like a flipping, one of those flipping reality shows?
All the time.
So, so yeah, you can learn flipping, right? Flipping, wholesaling, buy and hold cash flow. That's my favorite. Duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. There's apartments, there's tax liens, there's tax deeds, literally buying directly from the county for taxes, real estate.
Yeah.
There's self-storage units, there's mobile homes. I can tell you guys, there's people literally becoming millionaires just with mobile homes, okay? Because it's really easy to get into, and there's tons of cash flow in it, okay? Vacation rentals, some people like that. I love that. You know, I want to have a vacation rental in all the most like exotic places in the United States, okay? In fact, the world. And now with vacation rentals, with Airbnb combined with it, huge, right? Private lending, probate, lease options. I already talked a little bit about how lease options work, but that alone is huge, you know? It's literally tying up property and all that equity that you're creating without qualifying. That's huge. And then all within residential, commercial, industrial, land. So there's so many niches, you can't get bored, okay? Every person is different. Every house is different. So literally, you'll never get bored. Okay. And there's so many benefits in real estate. Okay. Here's some of them. Okay. It's a safer option than most things, compared to pretty much anything. But if I had to choose any of these, it's leveraging. Okay. Leveraging is the biggest reason why to have real estate. Okay. Where else can you go where literally you tell the bank, or actually they tell you pretty much, 3.5% to 10% is what you're going to put down on this, and then they're going to put 96 to 97% of the money that you need to buy that house. All right. Here's another way to put it. Okay. Oscar, actually, since you came in a little later, Oscar, you tell me if this is a good deal. Okay. I'm the bank. All right. And you're buying a house. Okay. Hey, Oscar, there's this deal, or actually you tell me about it. But Oscar, how about we do this? You put in 3%. I'll put in 96% of the money that you need for this house. You get to have the passive income. You get to have the tax benefits. You get to be on title. You know, when you pass, it can go to whatever heirs you want, and just pay me over the next 30 years, and you get to keep everything else. Is that a good deal?
Great deal.
That's a damn good deal, right? So literally in nothing else, you can't go buy gold, silver, businesses where the bank will loan you 96% of the money that you need for that asset. It just doesn't exist, you know? So real estate, that's why more millionaires and multimillionaires are created in real estate for that reason, okay? Because of the power of leverage. What was that?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's huge, okay? So literally you can stretch your investment dollars, okay? Instead of putting, you know, $100,000 in gold, silver, you can take that same 100,000 and buy 10 properties, you know, and it's worth 10 times that amount. So it's amazing, the leveraging part of it, and that's why we get paid so much too. Okay, inflation hedging. So the things, you know, we're literally faster than inflation. Okay, people raise rents normally to keep track with inflation. But appreciation is actually outpaces inflation. So you're always making more money in real estate. That alone is huge. Now you know another reason why millionaires become multimillionaires, not doing anything, just holding real estate. Huge, okay, because of that. Okay, tax exemptions, tax shelter. This is huge, okay? Only in real estate, okay? Where if somebody puts $1 million in it and then refinances and pulls the $1 million out, which a lot of people do, right? This $1 million at that point is that, actually, let me give you a real example, okay? Let's just say my company, to do it in a big, makes $1 million, okay? Tax-wise, do I have to pay taxes on it?
Yes.
Of course.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. So if the same company says, you know what, we need to buy some real estate. Let's put this $1 million, buy, you know, commercial building or whatever. Now this million was used into this, okay?
Mhm.
Then you refinance it, right? And then you pull $1 million. Do you pay taxes on this million?
No.
No, that's all completely tax-free
Wow.
because it's not income, it's debt.
Right.
Make sense? So there's a lot of people that use that loophole literally every day. Huge, okay? Small capital investments, no entry barrier to get in. And the second biggest thing, because I think leverage is still the biggest, is passive income. Okay, there's not a lot of types of things where all of a sudden you can literally, before you even buy it, have passive income. Okay, which is basically you putting tenants in it, they're paying the loan that you used to leverage, and then that extra money is yours as passive income. There's going to come a point where you have more passive income than your expenses. When that happens, you're out of the rat race, right?
Right.
And then last thing, theory of supply and demand. We already talked about this. God only made so much land and more people are born. So supply and demand, okay? So here's me simplifying it, okay? Sell the milk, not the cow, guys. There's a lot of people that love flipping property and they don't hold on to property. That's like the worst thing that you can do. That's basically equivalent to you getting a cow and butchering it and having a feast and you're done, you know? When you can actually get this cow, get the milk, then sell the milk, buy another cow. Now you have milk from 2 cows. Then you do the same thing over and over. Now you have 3. Do you see how it keeps multiplying and compounding? Because now you have milk from all 3. So you're going to get to the next cow faster and faster and faster. And so that's what happens. Eventually you'll get to the point where you have a farm of cows. And if you get the milk from all of them, you can literally feed your entire family.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what you want, where you don't have to work, you know? It's a little hard with the first cow, 2 cows, but after that, it's just a domino effect.
Mhm.
Translated to real estate, each cow is a house. The milk is rental income. Okay, so all of us is, what you really want to do is have at least 3 or 4 properties where you don't have to work, right? So here's the numbers for the analytical people. Okay, and combine it kind of with the flipping. So if you find a house that needs repairs, the after repair value, for example, is 500,000. Purchase price is 350 in this case. Closing costs and realtor fees is 30,000. Denise, you would get a piece of this, right? Because you're licensed.
Right.
Rehab cost is 30,000. So maybe it needs a new roof, kitchen, bathroom, whatever it needs. So when you get this minus this, you have 90 grand. Flippers, this is what they do. 1 or 2 a year. You're making 100 grand a year. Is that pretty good?
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a lot
That's-
of work though.
Yeah, that's why they do it. But because there's good money in it. Okay. Can you live off 100, 200,000 a year?
Yes.
Guys, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
But here's what people don't think about. Okay. They got to keep paying taxes on this. Some people, they just learn it and that's all they know. So that's why they keep doing it. But they got to pay taxes and a lot of taxes on it. Why don't they just keep it and do this? Okay. Get the income, right? Keep the cow. So in this case, gross rental income, I mean, this depends obviously on the area and all that stuff. In this case, it's 2,000 a month. Minus mortgage payment, including tax and insurance, property management, unless you want to do it. It's up to you. And maintenance fee. So basically this minus the expenses is whatever that cash flow is, passive income. Okay. So, but honestly, just between all of us, okay, it doesn't matter what this number is, okay? Obviously, the bigger the better. But let's just say, even if you're breaking even in a year, can you raise the rent, Denise?
Yes.
Okay, 2 or 3 years from now, Oscar, can you refinance and lower the payment?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, if you're paying too much for property management, can you lower that payment? So there's things that you can do, and that you can literally control. And so, you can always, this goes up higher and higher over time, even if you break even and mess up on the investment,
Mhm.
but
All right.
preferably when you get these properties, get them with $300 to $500 in cash flow. That's the best thing you can do, Is this pretty cool stuff?
That's interesting, man. Very interesting.
Guys, if you start explaining it this way to people, they're going to start listening to you guys and go with you whether you're licensed or not, then we have a licensed agent that comes in, helps them, and that's how you start getting these commissions, salaries, you know, whatever you want to call them, into your pocket. And preferably, if I can get you guys to get 2, 3, 4 properties yourself and become, you know, in anything I've ever done, just so you guys know, I've always became a client first. That's just me. Okay. I've bought a house before I was licensed as an agent. I bought my life insurance policy before I was, you know, so I know as a client how it is, you know.
Mhm.
And so if you guys retired through real estate, is it very easy for you to be excited and share with others? Of course. That's why I like being a client first. Okay.
Mhm.
Because now you're not trying to convince them. You know how some people, they sound hungry, right? They're trying to sell you a car. They're trying to sell you a house because they need money to feed their family, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But now it's coming from a whole different part. Now you're excited to help them retire. Now you're excited, you know, on a whole different level. You're not desperate. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's what I don't want you guys to do, because if you go to a regular brokerage, that's what happens. You learn these certain skills, you just do one part of it, and then you get to a point, shoot, I have to pay my bills. Let me, you know, let me keep pushing on this guy. I know he's pre-qualified. I got to get him a house, you know. So I
Mhm.
just don't want you in that desperate field. I'd rather have you guys have some cash flow where now you're making money in real estate because you want to do it, right?
Right.
And then you just keep multiplying. Okay. Whoops. So here's putting it all together. Okay. So real estate, mortgage that you needed to obviously buy the house, and then the IUL, the insurance policy. Same example, 500,000. Assuming you put 10% down, which is 50,000. That's high, so I'd rather get you 3.5%, right? But just so you know, second, third, fourth investment, you have to pay a little bit more. So that's why on this I put worst case scenario. On average, let's just say the market goes up 6.9%, and across the board, I kept it the same because the IUL illustration is the same. Here's the cool part, okay? Short term, let's just say first year, you got 34,000 in equity because of what happened in the market. You put in 50,000, so if you divide those numbers, that gives you 69% cash on cash. Is that a good investment?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even right away, you see it. Okay. Gives you appreciation, taxes, rental income. Okay. But here's the power. We're talking about retirement. So in 30 years, your property is going to be worth $1.5 million. Okay. Don't believe me? Talk to your parents. See how much they bought it for. Look at it now, or your grandparents, and you see everything gets more expensive. Okay.
Mhm.
Again, don't take my word for it. Okay. Do research. And by the way, we can look up any property and see what it was worth, and you can see. Mortgage, hopefully you paid off, right? You don't want to keep leveraging over and over at retirement. So it's paid off. You don't have any monthly payment, hopefully. And then the IUL, in this case, 567,000 that you have in your account. Okay, and you still have that coverage. So add 1.5. What's 1.5 plus 5?
2.
$2 million.
Yeah.
I'm like writing the answer. All right. So what's better? Okay. Remember the first example where somebody set aside 250. Actually, I think Oscar, you missed that part. But somebody set aside 250 bucks, and they had 200,000 at the end of, you know, by the time they're 65. That they actually had to do themselves, or $2 million making this decision.
Exactly.
This one's way easier. How long does it take? It might take 30, 45 days to get them a house and a mortgage if they're making money. And then the IUL takes about, you know, a couple of days to a week if they're healthy, you know. So literally we help people's, you know, change people's literally destinies and paths on this. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you guys see how we do this now?
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Now this is one house, by the way. Do you have to stop at one? Of course
No.
not. Okay.
Mhm.
I tell people 3, 5, 10, you know, my number is 20. Okay. But I know there's going to be an addiction where you have 20. Oh man, I see this 20 unit building. Let me just buy it. Right. You get to that point where that's why the rich keep getting richer and the poor keeps, you know, getting poorer.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
is knowledge, and then it becomes this, you know, domino effect. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just look at Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions so far?
No, I'm just taking it all in, quite frankly.
No. Good stuff, right? All right. Now you see why we get more clients going with us, because we really educate them on, you know, what's going on. So here's some of the executive team just to introduce you. This is the VP of Insurance, Main Street. Another VP. On the other insurance, that's me. Ruben Mata, we just brought in the nonprofit. So this is Denise. This is who I'm going to introduce you to.
Okay.
He's actually a motivational speaker as well. So he travels all over the world. And then Leticia, Jeff, Converse, he actually has a couple of other alternative investments that's not tied to the stock, to any market. So that's a whole nother thing. And then Norman is the P&C for auto insurance, all types of other insurance. Okay. All right. Is that pretty good education?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just like that, I'm telling you, makes a huge difference talking to people. Okay. Because we're not there just trying to list their house. Hey, we'll sell it for more. Okay. All right. With Wealth Legacy Group, going back to what we do and how we pay marketing associates. So we actually have 4 divisions. Okay. We have our real estate, mortgage division, life insurance, and investments. And I don't know if you know this, but there is regulations across all, which makes sense, right? Department of Real Estate regulates the real estate department and all of the agents and brokers. Mortgage division, insurance division, we're all regulated by different departments, okay? And they put a max on how much we can pay somebody that's unlicensed, okay? So once, like Denise, you got licensed, so now you're free on the real estate side. You can get all the commission, which is good. But we wanted to make it fair. I mean, if we meet somebody, like a client, through somebody, even if they're not licensed, we want to pay them fairly. Does that make sense? I mean, if we're getting paid $8,000-$10,000 in a commission, I almost feel bad just paying somebody a small amount of money, So, but we want to stay in regulation. If we get audited, because we've been audited before, so we've been through, we've been through it, so we know what's going on. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to get fined because the fines are big. They're $10,000-$20,000 fines. Okay.
Wow.
So if we pay somebody a not licensed $3-4 grand, 10 grand, and we get fined 20, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So what we did is we created this point system. Okay. So if somebody's not licensed, and we pay them points. So 1,000 points if we close a transaction in real estate, mortgage 750. So normally we do both at the same time. So in this case, it'd be 1,750. Insurance 250, and then investments is 1,750 points. Okay. So the question is, by the way, with all the marketing associates, I'm doubling your points this year because of the pandemic. Okay. Because I want you guys to get paid, and you're gonna see why. So what can you do with the points is the question, right? So there's 3 ways to convert the points. You can either do it towards real estate, so that way you can have passive income under your belt, towards a stipend, which is basically another word for it is monthly allowance or a salary, okay? Or the third way is towards advanced bonuses. So we keep in the same lane. So for example, Denise, she has a real estate license. If she helps a client get a mortgage and insurance, we can't technically pay our mortgages and insurance. So all we do is with the real estate license, we give her a cash advance or a bonus. Okay, is that doable? Of course. Is anybody excited about any of this?
Yeah.
Right? Do you see how we're, just with this, do you see how we're doing things a lot different than most? Okay. Not, yeah, I'm just going to stop there. All right. So here's an example. Let's just say you refer 3 clients. This could take a day, literally a week. Some people do that. But even if it took a month, 3 months, a year, okay? Let's say we sat down with the client, helped them get a house, a mortgage, got a life insurance policy. Maybe they got disability insurance, home insurance, and auto insurance. So that client is 2,700 on average. So times 3 clients, that's 8,200 points. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So to make it easy, each point equals $1. So in this case, you have $8,200 of credit towards your real estate purchase through escrow. So I always ask this question: what's easier, saving up $8,000 to buy a house or referring 3 clients this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do what's easier, okay? And so the way and the reason this is legal is this is the loophole we're utilizing, okay? Although we can't pay anybody out of escrow any amount of money because we get audited in escrow, we can give up to 100% of our own commission to our buyer. So that's the loophole we're utilizing. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That we can absolutely do. And so we're exploiting it. So you can do that, which I recommend. Or save up the points, right? This is literally another client or two, okay? Especially because we're doubling the points. The other one's 8,000, so we would double to 16,000. So you already hit this first one. So if you hit 12,000 points, I need to change this title, but you become paid marketing associate. And then what we're going to do, the marketing companies, what we're going to do is do a contract or an agreement for the next 12 months and pay you $1,000 a month every single month. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If you hit 25,000 points, it's 2,000 a month. 50,000 points, 4,000 a month, and then 100,000 points is 8,000 bucks a month. Okay. Now I want to be clear because somebody was confused one time. I think like last week actually, and she really figured, because she really sees it as a job, which is, you know, good. She went to put in the time. She thought that she had to do 12,000 points every single month, and I told her no. Once you hit the points, I'm going to do a contract and give you 1,000 a month, whether you do anything or not. Is that pretty powerful?
That is, yeah.
And so the reason that I pretty much have to do that is because if we get audited, which we won't, because the real estate company, Superior Properties Group, is the one getting paid, and the one paying you is the marketing company, Wealth Legacy Group. They're completely different companies, different bank accounts. Make sense?
Okay.
So, but even if they did audit this one, because I want to look at every part, right? This one, it's paying you $1,000 a month for the next 12 months, or, you know, 4,000, let's say, for the next year. Is it tied to any transaction? No, because I'm paying you the same thing for 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Income? That's
Yeah.
like, is that what that's
was that?
considered? Is that considered like residual income, Ernest?
I would say so. Yeah, pretty much. Or another way of doing it is, instead of paying you all at once, I'm dividing it up over the next 12 months for you, you know? So mainly I'm doing this for legal reasons, but this is helping the marketing associate a lot, because is it easier to get a house loan if you can prove that you're making money consistently and you have a job? Of course,
Yeah.
you know? So this is why life insurance agents and real estate agents, they love this concept, and that's why they're joining us, because now they start getting paid on other things. They never got paid on mortgages and other stuff, and they get paid consistently
Mm-hmm.
on doing something that they were already doing. They're already talking to clients. They're already helping them buy a house, you know?
Yeah.
So it's huge, okay? And so as a marketing associate, we provide you leads, scripts, and then you set appointments for and assist our licensed personnel. Make sense?
That's great.
Okay, next one. I think with Kanan, I had talked to you about that one. And so this is one of the main marketing strategies is we have the client, right? And then the marketing associate, and then the marketing associate isn't licensed, so then they bring in the licensed agent, right? This is the expert. So the marketing associate, your main job is to build trust, you know? A lot of people do this just with their warm market, okay? Would you agree? Your mom, dad, cousins, they trust you, right? But if you haven't been in real estate very long, do they trust you with real estate? Probably not, because they don't see you as an expert. They see you as your cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you bring somebody else that actually has, you know, years experience, if you told a cousin of yours, hey, I want to introduce you to this expert. He's been in real estate for 20 years. He's bought multiple properties. He's made tons of money. Do you have time, you know, Thursday? He's going to see me way different than you, and going to listen to me on a whole different ball part, okay? And so all we need is an intake form, literally a one-pager from the marketing associate. So we make it very easy for our marketing associates to get paid and to get points. So it's literally one pager that will tell us, you know, the name, email, phone number, what they're looking for, and things like that, depending on what it is. You know, on a house, okay, what type of house are you looking for? On the loan, okay, this is the stuff that we need. So it just depends. So we have 4 different intake forms. Okay.
Okay.
Make sense? So
Yeah. Wow.
so that's pretty much it, you know? So just like the question in the beginning, what we ask clients, where do you want to be? What do you want to have in 5 years? I mean, I literally just showed you a way where you can have a tax-free retirement income utilizing insurance contracts. You can create a monthly income with real estate even before retirement, and you can invest with no market exposure. Okay, is that pretty good? And so when I do this with clients, they always go with us. So it's very easy to just plug them in. And so the next step with them, it's a presentation survey. But for you guys, let me know. What do you guys think? Pretty good stuff. Oops.
It's great. I think my only question is just about the life insurance company. I think it was called Emeritus.
We actually have, that was one company, so one example, but we actually have 18 insurance companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you would just, tailor it to whatever insurance company has the best program for the person's situation, I guess.
Exactly. So far, Emeritus is cheaper and better in a lot of cases, but it does depend on the person, and they all have different bells and whistles. For example, there's a company where they're doing, and Emeritus doesn't do this. They have a term, like if somebody doesn't have enough money is setting aside, but they want to have something, so that we give them term. But we make it to where instead of just wasting the money, they're going to get it back. We can actually do that with another company. Okay.
Okay.
That one, it's called a term with a premium waiver or a cashback option. So everything they put in, I mean, if they put in 20,000, 10, 15,000 over the next 30 years into the policy, they would just get that money back. Okay. So little things like that. It just depends on the client.
Yeah.
At that point, we sit down, we see where their situation is. Yeah. And that's the stuff that you'll learn once we're sitting down with people, and it's like, oh, okay. That, to me, that's the best way to learn. Once you're sitting down with clients, getting to know everybody's, financial situation and how to get them from A to B, get them real estate, regardless of what people are at. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people, they think they don't qualify, or they think, that they can't do this and that, and they could, we can get them in that situation. Even you guys, so it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I know Denise and Oscar, actually all three of you, you put in for the position of marketing associate, right?
Who?
Was it marketing associate, all three of you?
Yeah,
There's
I
nobody
did.
here that put in for broker assistant, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say whoever's there for the broker assistant. That one is different because we need somebody here in the front. And that was kind of like they have to be here. Marketing associate, the cool thing is it's flexible. Okay, so if you're in, send me an email. I'm gonna send you a welcome email. I'm gonna send you a DocuSign. I haven't sent it to any of you guys, right? Okay.
I haven't gotten it, no.
Yeah, here's the next step. Kanan, I think we're gonna go over a few things before you joined us, right? So talk to me, call me, and then we'll talk to send you that.
Yeah.
Denise, Oscar, is there anything, any other questions before you join, so that way I can send the DocuSign agreement?
Just no. I mean, it's fairly informative information you gave me today. Yeah, just send it over my way, and then we can go from there.
Okay. So the DocuSign is basically the marketing associate agreement. It's 2 pages. So it's mainly terms and how much you'll get paid and the points. Like everything I went over, it's on there with terms. So that's 2 pages. Then it has the non-disclosure, non-compete. So because we're going to give you a lot of resources. So there's a lot of people that take advantage and they take everything and they can go to another broker. So we make it to where we have to get that signed, and then the tax information. So that way, when we pay you, we can let the IRS know and all that stuff. Okay. Right now, that one's set as a 1099, but we're going to switch to W-2 once we set up more the accounting and CPA in the back. So we're going to switch to W-2, but right now it's 1099. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll send that out. And for all 3 of you, hopefully, Kanan, you join us. But we have our meetings every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 10 a.m. So I'm gonna add your guys' emails to the reminders so that we can jump on. And you'll see there's about 5 to 10 people at a time on there. Even though I think we have like 30 people on the rosters altogether. But it's always like that, right? There's only a percentage that go on and everybody else is doing their own thing. So we have trainings every Tuesday and Thursday. We go over what's going on in the market. I'm going to give you guys access, log into the back office, and you'll be able to look at all the video recordings so you can catch up if you want to in each division. So if it's just mainly real estate, you're going to learn more than you want to in real estate, And so we're recording those and archiving and putting them back there. We give you literally the calendar. We give you the directory of everybody on there with extensions. So we're not holding back. That's why I need all these disclosures like signed, because we're not holding back and we don't want to, We want to give you, I mean, as you can tell, just with the client presentation, I mean, if we're not holding back on there, are we going to hold back with agents? Of course not. We want to make, we want to give you all the resources so that way you can make as much money as you want,
Yeah.
That's why we have all these divisions and all that stuff. because we want to put more money into your pocket without the licenses legally. Okay.
Yeah.
So Denise, Oscar, welcome to the team. We'll talk, Kanan.
Okay.
I'll send you the
Good.
welcome emails. If you have any other questions, let me know. Like if you're looking at the agreement, give me a call. You guys all have my number, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. I think it's, I don't know if it was in the application thing that I received, but it's on the website, right?
Yeah, but I'll send you an email. too,
Okay.
with all my info. It's on the bottom signature of it. Oscar, you don't have your license, right?
No, I don't have my license.
Okay, I thought I know there was somebody else that had it, but I know with Denise, we have to go over the comp plan on the real estate side.
Okay.
You know, I obviously don't do it with clients, so that's why I didn't share that. But with clients, I don't mind them accumulating points for real estate. You know, so that's what's cool and why I show the point system even with clients. Okay. All right, guys. If you guys don't have any questions, you guys have my number, or I'll send you guys all emails, and then we'll talk Kanan, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Ernest.
jumping on. Have a great day. Okay.
You too.
Bye.